Boom! What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel again. You all can see the title of the video. This is another death battle. This one is Blade versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Man, I really want to see this one. Death battle. Y'all better do this justice. I got Blade. I love Buffy. Blade. Alright. Y'all can see it? Let's get it. Boom! Blade look like that.
Blade versus Buffy, the Daywalker versus the Vampire Slayer. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a
death battle.
They are known by many names: Revenant, Vortolak, Nosferatu, Vampires.
No, there's so many
and the night is young. These
different type of vampires
are up for blood. Fitting that
you can swap on
those who stalk the night is the one
what weakness they have, what strength they have. There's some fly.
Is that really his costume? Now there's a man who doesn't file his taxes. I
watch Blade to this day, bro.
Coolest superheroes ever, and basically kickstarted the comic book movie craze. And yet, he is also seemingly the only one who knows or cares that in the world of Marvel, vampires exist. Seriously, nobody talks about this. Blade doesn't need anyone's help. He'll just aura farm by himself. Even Blade's birth was hardcore. Just as the young Brooks's mother was in labor, her attending doctor turned out to be the vampire Deacon Frost. And he drank her blood right before she gave birth. This infused Eric with Frost's vampiric blood, turning him half human, half vampire. A Dampier. Giving him a ton of vampy powers, but none of their weaknesses like garlic, holy water, or sunlight. Eric would hone these abilities under the tutelage of
But the funny thing is, they say he's 100. I know they said that in the movie, they said that he actually ages just like, a regular human being. So I don't know why they say he's 100 in that, but let's see if they even mention that.
Vampire hunter Jamal Afari, sharpening him into a blade that would rape the vampire plague for good. Blade is strong and fast enough to toss around 1,000-pound demons and cut bullets out of the air. He can keep up with Wolverine, who can deflect Cyclops' light speed optic blasts, and his Kevlar DuPont armor helped him take the top of Count Von Scott's castle exploding. He can heal small wounds immediately and sniff out the supernatural with his hypersenses. Also, his fangs can drain his victims of magical energies. After studying the ways of Hong Kong Kung Fu movies, Blade became a master martial artist. Ah, yes, the Street Fighter School of Kung Fu. While the only martial art he's been stated to know is Krav Maga, we know he's mastered more. So, for the full scope of his martial arts ability, we'll examine the Blade movies as performed by Wesley Snipes. By looking at Snipes' training and choreography, we know Blade uses Kung Fu, Capoeira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Eskrima, kickboxing, Shotokan karate, and Hapkido.
That's a lot of movies you watched to learn that.
Takedowns, and I guess you could call him Marvel's Batman. Blade's training progressed smoothly until Afari was attacked and had his blood drained by Dracula. Seriously, Avengers, Dracula is real. Why aren't you doing anything about this? He's right there. Forced to murk his surrogate dad, Blade would have to wage his war alone, nursing a wound within him that would never heal, a hole that could never be filled. Not with that attitude. Blade took a page out of the Book of Boomstick and tried filling that hole with every kind of weapon imaginable. He's got so many, they're his apartment decorations. Handguns, assault rifles, and explosives make up the brunt of his firepower. And he enjoys getting up close and personal with his dual acid-etched katana. Speaking of glorious Nippon steel, he's got a sword made out of adamantium, specifically secondary adamantium, a variant of the metal that is mass-producible. It may not be quite as strong as Cap's shield, but it can cut right through heavy hitters like Ultron and the Hulk. Naturally, Blade has even more swords. His Atlantean ones can slice through magical enchantments. The Word Sword can harm intangible demons, and the Justiciar can slay fallen angels.
I didn't even know it went this far,
stuff he can pull out of his ass, like a Hellfire shotgun that burns your soul, or hypodermic needles filled with vampire blood. Seems kind of dumb to turn people into vampires, but it does make them more vulnerable to Blade's arsenal. All that pales in comparison to the arch weapon of hell in Blade's possession, the breathing gun. It is a living firearm that hisses in the presence of demonic forces.
Really?
Its sentient bullets chase its victims down. The wounds they cause cannot be healed. And if they get lodged in your body, they'll slowly devour you from the inside out. They can even hurt hell lords and greater threats like the cosmic Ghost Rider. Blade took everything he had and fought his one-man war for almost 100 years. He's battled hordes of vampires while skydiving, infiltrated the Pentagon, and even took on Spider-Man like Miles Morales, who could absorb the energy of a bomb that could destroy Harlem. Blades even bested the spirit of vengeance, Zarathos. And while he occasionally allied with teams like the Avengers, he prefers to work alone. I probably would too if they only cared about me when I was helping them and not ridding the world of, vampires. That and what he do if he loses control, because he does have one classic vampire weakness: a thirst for blood. Even more so after he had a daughter, Brielle, whom he avoided for fear of endangering her. If his bloodlust does overwhelm him, he will enter a berserker rage, skyrocketing his strength at the cost of his sanity. Though it does make him even better at killing vamps. He's made a cottage industry out of whooping Dracula's ass. Dracula is unsurprisingly powerful, capable of summoning a thunderstorm that covered all of Boston with a wave of his hand. Drac apparently didn't hold a grudge though, since he eventually made Blade the sheriff of vampires, a vampire nation in the ruins of Chernobyl. Amazingly, Dracula has even given Blade some of his own blood, which allows him to shapeshift into multiple forms, like a wolf, a horde of bats, or a cloud of mist. So he can force his way inside your body and blow you up from the inside out. Ant-Man's
this is fire,
Blade's hatred of vampires is only matched by his hatred of himself. However,
and I'm going to be watching this for Halloween.
Of vampiric powers, Blade finally found a reason to reconnect with his daughter, training her the same way Afari trained him a century prior. Even after Blade was possessed by the first vampire ever and tried to take over the planet, Brielle put her dad's teachings to the test, saving both him and the world, and proving that Blade's lonely war need not be so lonely anymore. With his daughter at his side, and also this plant creature pet called Boy Thing, let Marvel's vampires beware. For should they indulge their unnatural urges, they will be sure to meet their end at the tip of his blade.
I like Blade 1 and Blade 2. Blade 3?
Today's battle is sponsored by Prize Picks. You know what's awesome? Being right, especially when your co-host is always wrong. Funny. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Like I always am. You're just boasting because Prize Picks makes it easy to play. All you gotta do is pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. That's it. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, so you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. I'm picking more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns. I guess I'm just a positive thinker like that. Well, I'm positive that you totally copied me, because I'm picking the same. You followed me on the app and saw my feed tab, didn't you? That's right, and you can too. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DEATH to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DEATH to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Let's get to the death battle. Death battle.
In every generation, there is a chosen one.
Buffy, right.
She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer. For thousands of years,
and plus I binged the entire thing again.
And was destined to die young in battle against evil, passing their powers on to the next Slayer, and the next, and so on. That is, until the newest Slayer would change everything. Buffy and Summers. Not exactly the first girl you'd think is the savior of humanity. Buffy's only goals in life were, in her own words, graduate from high school, go to Europe, marry Christian Slater, and die. But that would all change when the Watcher Merrick appeared and revealed her destiny. Like, total bummer. Merrick trained Buffy in the arts of vampire slang, and she became so efficient that she burned down her school. Whoops. Forcing her and her mom to move to Sunnydale, California to start a new life, far away from any more bloodsuckers and bad makeup. Unfortunately, small problem, Sunnydale just so happened to be right on top of a hell where the boundary between Earth and Hell is permeable. Yeah, that sounds like the Valley, alright. Along with new Watcher Giles, Wallflower Willow,
suspense.
part-time
This
bad
is
boy,
really good
part-time
show,
sad
bro.
boy Angel, magical retcon sister Dawn, and
I actually I have to watch the Angel one. I used to watch it, but I haven't revisited
Buffy and
to
her
binge it
Scooby
again.
Gang would battle a never-ending series of monsters. And we mean truly never-ending. Sure,
Yeah.
there's the TV show, but Buffy has also been slaying vampires across video games, comics, and 128 novels. Tens of thousands of pages of Buffy lore you've never heard of. But we're just crazy enough to speed
I know with
read
the
them
video
all.
game, I
Buffy
have one
carries
of
a
those.
variety of anti-vampire weaponry. There's wooden stakes, of course, sometimes dipped in Gorgon
Yep,
venom
I
that
have
can
that.
turn you to stone. Though she's also experienced with axes, swords, quarterstaffs, holy water, just about anything. You said it! When she fought an ancient demon unable
I
to be
remember
killed
that.
by any weapon forged in his time, Buffy introduced his stupid ass to the 20th century. She's also a
Boom,
master
dead.
of Aikido,
One
Judo,
shot.
Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, karate, kung fu, wushu, tai chi, kendo, capoeira, and taekwondo. Buffy apparently thinks Hong Kong's kung fu movie masters could learn a thing or two. No kidding. Thanks to her Slayer senses, her reflexes are fine-tuned enough to dodge close-range Gatling gun fire,
these ones
lightning
are
bolts from the
silly,
sky,
but
and even
it's
beams
okay.
of light. She's kept up with another Slayer, Faith, who can
Yeah,
dodge
Faith.
laser beams from point-blank range. Buffy's strong enough to bend rebar, punch this 4.5-ton bat monster into the air, and, smash hard enough to tear apart a building. And despite her lack of armor, she can survive massive explosions, like the one that destroyed Cephrilion's lair that's bigger on the inside. She can even fight blindfolded,
Yep.
but if she is injured, she heals fast enough to be totally fine by the next episode. One time, Angel sucked out almost all of the blood from her body, and she survived. Doubly impressive since Angel's blood draining also drains magical energy. Yeah,
Yep.
Buffy's own magic makes her weirdly resilient to esoteric attacks, like when she expelled this misty shadow demon trying to possess her body, or
Yeah.
when she resisted her soul being ripped apart and scattered across time, or that time she jumped into a vat of boiling liquid so hot it could reduce people to skeletons, and she was just fine. She might not show physical scars, but she
Dark
sure
Willow
has
episode
emotional
was
ones.
crazy,
Being
bro.
the Slayer put a huge burden on Buffy's life. Unable to live normally, she felt isolated, forced to internalize the trauma she faced on a daily basis. Sure, she had friends,
But she just
but they
a kid,
couldn't
bro. That's the
understand her
crazy thing
unique
about it.
struggle. Like when Angel turned evil after he took her virginity and tried to
Yeah.
destroy the world. That must be one of those metaphors. Sometimes the worst enemies are the ones you can't fight and who don't fight back. Made even memories of the other Slayers bouncing around in her head, dating back to the Stone Age. Buffy has dreamt of every battle a Slayer has ever fought, and can call upon those skills in a fight, even subconsciously. But this includes the memories of their deaths. Countless women violently dying young, a reminder of her inevitable fate. A fate that came to pass when she fought the Hell God Glory. After leaping into
And she
Glory's
jumped
reality-ending
yeah.
interdimensional hole, a glory hole, if you
Sacrificed
will.
herself for
Buffy
the freaking
sacrificed
world.
herself to
Yep.
save the universe, dying a hero's death. It appears my glory hole joke was poorly timed. Finally freed of her unfair earthly responsibilities, Buffy's soul ascended to heaven in perfect bliss. Until her quest brought her back to life in the agony of existence. This absolutely crushed
her.
Buffy,
Yep.
and ironically, annihilated her will to live. Oh, that's rough, Buffy. But with the show renewed for more seasons, she had to nut up and continue her endless crusade against all things Spirit Halloween. Buffy's battled for 48 hours straight, defeated vampires immune to traditional vampiric weaknesses, and destroyed the Sword of Sano, which caused the Great Hanshin earthquake. And of course, both Buffy and her friends have defeated countless immensely powerful demons, like the Queller Demon, which arrived as a meteor and caused the Tunguska explosion, which destroyed over 2,000 square kilometers of forest, or the Sorrow Demon, which caused a storm that blanketed Los Angeles. She's also a match for Angel, who survived a blast that could rupture a continental shelf, and took hits from Whistler, whose magic contained a bomb that could vaporize London. She even faced off against the first evil, literally the embodiment of all evil that predates reality itself. Forced into battles against stronger and stronger baddies, Buffy clearly needed something to even the odds. The, Slayer Safe! It's actually a Bardiche. Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna say it. This thing is bullshit. Containing the essence of Buffy's Slayer powers and created to defeat
it didn't really go anywhere.
The scythe can deflect magical projectiles and slice through just about anything. Ghosts, magic, even space itself, destabilizing reality in the process.
Even Sightless, the devourer of worlds, kinda like Galactus, but instead of chomping on planets, he eats the multiverse. And there goes his head.
The scythe is easily the most powerful tool in her arsenal. In effect, attaining it completed Buffy, as though it were a piece of her she never knew was missing.
It didn't last long.
Buffy was finally whole. Being the Slayer was no longer a burden, but a purpose.
And by sharing her Slayer powers with thousands of girls around the world, they all teamed up and kicked the first evil's ass.
Suddenly, the always isolated Buffy had thousands of shoulders to lean on, a sisterhood of Slayers.
And thousands more reasons for any wannabe demon conqueror to stay away from Earth. Because unless you want to get your blood all over her stylish yet affordable boots, you'll steer clear of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
Love her, but bro, this one gotta go to Blade, bro.
Hey, as you know, it's Skeletor.
You mean...
Alright, let's get to it. You guys can watch it if y'all want to.
We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a live action death battle!
Let's get it. We really put this production together, boy. Everybody deserve that blood, huh? Blood, 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 blood.
We were kings.
I like this
before they
soundtrack.
had a name for kings. But now, starved, hunted, forgotten. You have waited long enough. Tonight, we remember who we were. Tonight, we take back what was always ours. Tonight, we feast.
Always is feast.
And that's just the start.
I see that you just skipped. Yeah, I recognize this dude. I've seen his videos on YouTube. Yeah, that is him. Alright. Yeah. That was cool. Double kill. Is the DJ still DJing? Gone. Yeah. Done for. Suplex. Yeah. Nice. I love that bomb, man. DJ was stupid, but both of you always on the same mission? Oh, she didn't get right. man, but I'm really intrigued with this gun there.
Wait! She was just a kid.
Not anymore.
Excuse me, let's get it. Let's get it. Good.
You out your damn mind?
He got you, bro. He got you, bro.
Amateur hour. There's always some motherfucker trying to ice skate uphill.
Nah, bro. I don't know how I feel about this blade, but whatever. It's what it. Ooh. Good. That's what I know. Come on, great. What?
Another sword.
I see you cut you out of adamantium.
Bring it on.
Got him. I say they dared to win this one, though. He's gonna win.
It's like you got ahead of yourself.
KO!
That was bullshit, but No flipping way, way. Death Battle just did that. Oh my goodness. Let me hear the explanation for this nonsense, but I gotta hear exactly what they're about to say, babe.
Be Blade tenued no longer. I'm surprised. I figured with Blade's many years of comic book history, he'd have the edge.
Believe it or
And they've
not,
been around longer,
he's
babe.
actually in more comics than Blade.
So?
Really? Man, Blade can't catch a break.
Let's break this down into 4 categories. First up, stats. Buffy's lifted much heavier things and survived more significant explosions.
Like, sure, Blade's strong and all, but he isn't literally fucking buildings apart like Buffy.
Scaling to the monsters they fought, compare Dracula
That's
creating a
nothing
storm
to
that
do
covered
with it.
Boston to the Sorrow Demon creating a storm that covered Los Angeles, a city over 5 times larger. You might be able to compare Blade to Spider-Man like Miles, who absorbed a bomb that could blow up Harlem, but that's significantly weaker than Whistler containing a blast that could wipe out London. They could both dodge light beams, but that doesn't keep Buffy from taking the overall edge in stats.
Blade's used to being the odd man out, though, so his versatility is just as important.
With Blade's numerous powers and massive arsenal, he certainly could have overwhelmed the more straightforward Buffy.
Machine guns and magic swords are generally gonna beat out crossbows and morning stars. Not to mention, he actually wears armor.
Also, Blade's faster healing factor and immunity to traditional vampire weaknesses kept Buffy on the back foot for a time. Blade wins versatility.
But when it comes to skill, Buffy's got plenty of experience fighting armed opponents barehanded.
Both of them were masters of a similar number of martial arts.
And Blade has been kicking vampire ass for a century, way longer than Buffy's
That's what I'm
even been
saying,
alive.
so.
Blade may have more personal experience. Buffy's ability to draw on Slayer battles dating back to the Stone Age, at least 40 times older than Blade, gives her the superior skill. Even then, they both had weapons and abilities so powerful they could end the fight instantly, regardless of all else.
They're trump cards. Fortunately for Buffy, she actually countered almost all of what Blade could throw at her.
Withstanding Blade draining her energy with his bite? Check.
Resisting the Hellfire shotgun destroying her soul? Check.
Preventing Blade turning to mist and exploding her from the inside out? Check.
Meanwhile, Blade had no way to survive, say, Buffy's Gorgon venom turning him to stone.
And even with the deadly and just plain gross breathing gun, Blade did not have anything as potent as the Slayer sight. It could easily deflect
That's a
the breathing gun's
shitty
bullets back at him, or use its space-cutting ability to slice through his unbreakable adamantium sword.
Don't believe us? Even Wolverine's
No.
adamantium skeleton was cut in half when a portal closed on top of him. That's the same kind of thing.
And Wolverine's beta adamantium skeleton is a much tougher version of the same metal.
Oh, and since the sight could kill Silas, a multiverse devouring god, I think you could take down Blade with a big enough swing.
Giving Buffy the final advantage over the Daywalker.
Really thought Blade had a chance, but Buffy sure put a damn fear on
Okay,
things.
The winner is Buffy the Vampire
It's
Slayer.
places.
Next time on Death Battle.
What this is? Wait, Pokemon? What is this? Devil May Cry? Alright, nice. Versus who?
Subscribe and join as a member to see more Death Battles. Thanks.
Alright, guys. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And yeah, don't forget to go to Death Battle and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you already know what time it is. On to the next one. Boom. Yeah, I know.